Good afternoon. Welcome to Thursday with Psalms. Brother Barry Bradshaw, pastor of Jamestown and Bethel United Methodist Churches. Glad you could join me, and I hope that you will get a blessing from the message today. It is a beautiful Thursday afternoon, and it's feeling more and more like summer. Of course, it's getting close to June, and so I guess it should. I know last night as I was standing out on the back porch, and I was listening to the frogs croak and the crickets and watching the lightning bugs, and it just felt like summer. It really did. So it kind of feels like to me that we've turned the corner and that we are heading into summer, and it's time to get ready for the creeks and the pools and all the water things that we can do this summer. And of course, with that, we need to see what all we can do for the Lord during this summer as well, and don't forget to keep Him in our life and in our plans, and that's what we're going to be talking about a little bit today, is making sure that the Lord is in our plans and a part of our life in everything that we do, from the beginning all the way to the end. The passage that I'm going to read today and just talk to you about comes from Psalms chapter 90, verse 12. Just one verse. And it reads this way: "Teach us to number our days aright, that we may gain a heart of wisdom." Teach us to number our days aright, that we may gain a heart of wisdom. You know, against all evidence to the contrary, we grow up thinking that we're invincible. And not just invincible, but that we're going to live forever. I think back on when I was a kid, and I've tried to come up with a timeline of when that changed in my life, and I really can't say when that was. But for a big part of my childhood, I didn't think anything about living and dying. I didn't think anything about that at some point in my life that I'm no longer going to be on this earth, and that I'm going to need to decide whether I'm going to spend it in heaven or hell. But I know at some point it came to me, and I realized that I had to live and make that decision one way or the other. Now, there's something deep, I think, in the human soul that lets us know as we get older and as we start coming of age and gaining wisdom and ideas, especially as we begin to study the Lord. And I want to say early on in our teenage years, maybe this starts to become a reality, even though we don't fully understand it until later on in our life. That our life is, as James says, a vapor. And actually what he says is that each man's life is but a breath. That's what David says in Psalms. And so our life is but a vapor, here today and gone tomorrow. When we're young, we don't think about that. We don't look at that. But as we start to get older, let's just say up into our 20s, early 20s, as we go to college and graduate and or whether we go to technical school or we just go out into the workforce and work, we start understanding that there's a beginning and an end of life. And what is the dash in between when we were born and when we die is our life. And it's what's going to be remembered with our family and friends. Now, what I want to talk about and what I really want to focus on is, what is that dash? Are we making a plan for our life, or are we just living it? Are we living it out in survival mode or in entertainment mode, or are we just not even living, just not having a plan? And that's what numbering our days is. We need to have a plan for our life. We need to think about what we want to accomplish in life. And as Christians, if we're Christians, we need to think about that too. what do we need to accomplish for the Lord? What can we accomplish for the Lord? And we need to pray about that. We need to study His Word, and we need to see where the Holy Spirit leads us in that. Because there's one thing about it. What we do on this earth is not going to be eternal unless it has heavenly consequences, unless it's a spiritual thing that we do. If we are Christians and we make our plans to live for the Lord, and we let Him guide us and lead us and tell us where to go and tell us what to do, and we are truly a part of His plan in this life, then we're going to touch people's lives for eternity. And so that dash between the time that we're born and the time that we die can have some significance besides just living out our life on earth. Because we're just going to be a vapor, and you know, after I die, probably, you know, 30 years after I die, nobody's going to even know I lived or not even think about it. Maybe a little longer than that. But let's just say a generation. A generation is considered 70 years. After a generation, not many people are going to even know that I was here on this earth. That you know, that I've had anything to do, unless there's something that I do spiritually, that I do for the Lord, that leaves an impact. Now, that can be something that can be carried on, not just on earth, but in heaven as well. See, I'll have a heavenly consequence if I number my days, if I make a plan to live out for the Lord and not just live them out frivolously, like there's no end to what I'm going to be doing here on this earth, like there's no end to life. I lived like that at one point in my life and didn't think much about it. The Lord finally got a hold of me, finally got my attention, and things have changed now. For the last 30 years of my life, I've been living for the Lord and trying to make an impact eternally with the people that I'm around. And I'm going to tell you, it's taken a long time for me to see just how important it is to talk about the Lord in my life, to make an eternal, how should I put this, to make an eternal impact upon the people that is around me. But that's what we should be doing. In this book here that I study, and it's a Walk with God 1-year devotional, I like what it says. Paul tells us to redeem the time because the days are evil. That's Ephesians 5:16. The days are evil. Time is passing by. Time is fleeting. And now that I'm 50, excuse me, in my 50s, time seems to be slipping on by very quickly. And I know the only impact that's going to last is the eternal one. And so I strive harder to make an impact with my life. I want to. I try to listen and be more sensitive to the Holy Spirit. I think that's what numbering my days is about. Realizing that the time I have left on earth is short. And the impact that I have is going to be spiritual. And that's it. That's what's going to last for eternity. And I want something to last for eternity. I want my life to mean something other than I was just born, I lived this life, and I died. I want it to have an impact on the people around me. Mainly, I want it to be a positive impact. And I want people to know Jesus Christ so that they can have eternal salvation the way that I do. Through my forgiveness of sins by the grace of God through Jesus Christ. Let's number our days. Let's see the importance of talking and planning on just letting the Lord use us and lead us each and every day. Wherever that is and however that is. And if we're open to doing that, the Lord will use us. And we can have an eternal impact on those people around us. And our society today, if ever needed to hear about the Lord, it is today. Today is the day we need to start numbering our days and planning that before we pass away, we make an eternal impact on this life for Jesus Christ. I pray you enjoy the devotion. I pray that you will strive to make this eternal impact important, that you will number your days. As it says here, we must number them. We must live with our eye on the limitations of time and the certainty of death. And in that, it will give us wisdom. Wisdom to live our life the way God intends for us to live it. God bless you. Have a wonderful afternoon, and enjoy a great start to summer. I'll see you soon.